I've been sitting on this story for almost 2 years. Not because I didn't want to tell it, but because every time I tried to write it down, I'd get to a certain part, a specific detail, and I'd have to stop, close the laptop, go sit somewhere with a lot of light. I still don't fully understand what I saw. I'm not sure I want to, but people have been asking, and I think it needs to be said out loud, because keeping it quiet hasn't made it feel any smaller. So, here it is. My grandmother's house sits at the end of a gravel road in a part of rural Georgia that most GPS systems either misname or skip entirely. It's a single-story farmhouse, white paint that's been weathering since the 70s, a covered porch that wraps around 2 sides, and windows, a lot of windows, because she always said she liked to see the yard. I used to love those windows when I was a kid. You could watch the deer come out at dusk, watch thunderstorms roll in from the west, watch fireflies blink out of the tree line in summer like something out of a dream. I don't love them anymore. This happened the summer I was 23. I'd driven down to spend 2 weeks with my grandmother while she recovered from a knee surgery, just keeping her company, cooking, making sure she didn't try to do anything she wasn't supposed to. My grandfather had passed 4 years before, so it was just her in that house. Just her and the yard and those windows. The nearest neighbor was almost a mile down the road. I want you to hold on to that detail. Before I tell you what happened on the 4th night, if you're new here, this is where I share stories like this one. Real, unfiltered, and told the way they happened. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell. I post every week and you genuinely don't want to miss what's coming. Okay, back to Georgia. The first few days were normal. Quiet in the way that old houses in the country are quiet, not peaceful quiet. Yeah, but the kind where you become aware of every sound the structure makes. Settling, pipes, the refrigerator cycling on at 2 in the morning. My bedroom was the guest room at the back of the house. One window facing the backyard and the tree line beyond it. Maybe 40 feet of open grass between the house and where the woods began. A pull-down shade over the window. I kept it down at night. The first night I woke up at some point, I don't know what time, with the distinct, specific feeling that something had just moved outside. Not a sound, not a bang or a crack, just a feeling. The kind your body registers before your brain catches up. Like something in your peripheral awareness had just tripped a wire. I lay still. I listened. The house was quiet. The yard, as far as I could tell, was quiet. After a while, I went back to sleep. I told myself it was nothing. And honestly, that first night it probably was. And the 4th night is where this becomes a story worth telling. I'd been up late. My grandmother goes to bed around 9, so by midnight the house was dark, except for the lamp in my room. I was reading. The pull-down shade on my window was, as always, closed. Then I heard something outside. Footsteps on the gravel. Now the gravel path runs along the side of the house, from the driveway to the backyard. It's maybe 30 feet long. And what I heard was someone, walking it slowly. And not running, walking, deliberately. The footsteps stopped beneath my window. I put my book down. I sat there listening for probably 30 seconds, not moving. There were no more footsteps, no voices, no car engine I might have missed. Just silence, and the faint sound of night bugs, and the very clear knowledge that something was standing just outside my window. I told myself, deer. It could be a deer on the gravel. They come up close to the house sometimes. I reached over and turned off my lamp. The room went dark. And then, slowly, I turned toward the window. The shade was down, but at the very bottom where the shade meets the sill, there was a sliver of outside, maybe half an inch of visible glass. And through that half inch, in the thin orange cast of a distant security light from the barn, I could see the ground outside, and 2 feet, standing still, human feet, bare, pale in that orange light, toes pointing toward the house. I did not move. Well, I am not exaggerating when I tell you that I stopped breathing. Some part of my brain that predates rational thought took over completely, and it said, "Do not move. Do not make a sound. Do not let whatever is outside know that you are awake." I watched those feet for what I believe was close to 2 minutes. They didn't move. They didn't shift weight. They just stood there, pointed at the house, completely still. And then the shade moved. Not dramatically, not yanked or rattled. The bottom edge lifted maybe an inch, maybe 2, the way it would move if something outside had put a finger underneath it and slowly, carefully tilted it up. I saw ankles, shins, the hem of something dark. I saw hands, 2 of them, pressed flat against the glass. And then I saw a face. I need to describe this carefully because the face is the part I keep coming back to. The part that doesn't make sense no matter how I turn it over. The face was pressed against the glass. Nose flattened slightly, the way a face looks when it's pushed against a window from outside. Eyes open, not blinking, not moving, not reacting to anything, just watching. And here is the detail. Here is the part I've tried to explain away 100 times, and cannot. The face was upside down, completely inverted. Forehead at the bottom, chin at the top. Features the wrong way up, pressed against the glass, watching me in the dark. I am not exaggerating. I am not misremembering. I've run through every possible explanation. Someone crouching at a strange angle, someone on the ground, a trick of shadow or reflection. I've thought about it for 2 years. The ground outside that window is flat. There is no angle that produces an upside-down face pressed against a window at ground level. I was looking at a face, and it was not oriented the way a human face should be. I don't know how long I stayed frozen. Long enough that when I finally moved, when I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight and crossed the room in about 2 seconds and yanked the shade up, there was nothing there. No one. The gravel path was empty. The yard was empty. The tree line at the far edge of the grass was dark and still. I went to my grandmother's room, woke her, told her I'd heard something outside. She wasn't alarmed, told me it was probably raccoons or kids from the road sometimes cut through the property. I told me I could check the locks and go back to sleep. I checked every door, every window, everything was locked, everything was closed. I did not sleep. In the morning, I went outside to look at the gravel path beneath my window. There were no footprints. The gravel had no disturbance. Whatever had been standing there had stood on the path without leaving any impression in it at all. I stayed 4 more days and slept with the overhead light on every night. And I never told my grandmother what I actually saw. There's one more thing. I've never included this part when I've mentioned this story to friends because it's the part that makes the least sense. And I didn't want to sound like I was embellishing. Before I yanked the shade up, in that moment before I moved, the face smiled. Not wide, not grotesque, just a slow, small smile. The kind of expression you'd make if you had just confirmed something you'd been wondering about. Like it had come to check something, and it had found the answer, and now it was satisfied. I don't know what it was checking. I don't know what answer it found. I still have windows in my home. I still have to live in rooms that have them. But I'm telling you, and I mean this, I do not leave gaps at the bottom of my shades anymore. Not even half an inch. Not anymore. I've turned this over in my mind more times than I can count. I've looked for explanations, rational ones, comfortable ones. Then I've mostly stopped finding them satisfying. What I know is what I saw. A face, inverted, watching me in the dark from outside a locked and latched window in a yard that showed no sign of anyone having been there. And that slow, quiet smile. If you've seen something that doesn't fit inside normal explanations, something that looked back at you when it shouldn't have been able to, I want to hear it. Drop it in the comments. I read every one, and if this one stayed with you, subscribe. The new stories go up every single week. The button is right there, it's free, and trust me, you'll want to be here for the next one. Sleep well. Think that was unsettling? You haven't seen the next one?